Okay, now let's get into it. Today I have a special topic, and it's about a candy bar. Hershey candy bar postcards. And I'm going to talk about those. I don't have any of those listed that I could find, so I wanted to go out and do a little research on them and see, are they worth anything? Do people really collect them? We'll find out in the special topic. But first I'm going to go through to what sold. I sold 11 cards today for $55. 2 on Etsy and 9 on eBay. They'll go pretty quick. And then I got a poll. Those are the polls I put out every Saturday that people actually participate and respond to, which is great because it gives an insight to everyone, what everybody's doing. This one was, what is the most postcards you have listed in one session? So when you sit down to list postcards, what is the most you've ever done? Or some people said the average. We have one that says he does over 250. We'll get into it during the poll section. And then I got some viewer comments. I pulled 3 of them, I think, from YouTube that we'll go over. And you want to stick around for those. So that's where you get my opinion, my recommendations, or how I respond, and what other people are asking or sharing information. And that's how the videos go. And down at the bottom, you can skip through the different sections. If you don't care for what sold, you can jump to that special topic, viewer comments, or just watch the whole thing while you list postcards. That's what I do. I usually try to find a longer video on YouTube, put it on my TV on my Roku, and I just let it play and pop up my head when I hear something that I need to look at. And you can always stop and rewind or freeze the frame to look at something. But let's get into the what sold. Now on Etsy, I sold view cards. I mean, these are view cards. The first one, this is the Smoky Mountains of a cabin. Sold this for $4.65. If you look at it, it's just a chrome card. It's got a little bear right there. Smoky Mountains. This whole order was like $9 to $10. This is a view card, and this is the chimney tops in this fall colors in the Smoky Mountains. So somebody went on vacation there, or whatever. But those 2 cards sold. A lot of people, I always say it a lot of people probably wouldn't list that card. I probably paid little to nothing for those 2 cards in a lot or whatever. But if it fits in the scanner, I list it pretty much. Then on eBay is a little different. And sales have been still up and down some. A lot better than they were last month. This is a cover. I've been listing my final stash of these naval ship covers. And what they are is every ship has a mail department, and if you look right back there, that's the badge that the petty officer that does the mail service on the ships would wear. And I got a bunch of those in that lot. I wasn't in the military, but I got a bunch of those, so I thought I would put it there to recognize those people. And when they send something from the ship, they stamp it with like this, the ship stamp, and people collect those. There's a big collector market out there for these. Now this one was the USS Tarawa CVS-40. Those numbers mean something to the Navy guys on the ships, because some ships like the Tarawa might be another ship, CVS-20. I found. I don't know how it all works out. I just try to make sure I get the name and the number into the listing, because people look for those numbers along with the name. But this one was July 24th, 1959 that this was stamped. And just an envelope. It's like a first day cover, but what they look for is that right there. Is canceled from the ship and the date. So when I list them, I'll put naval cover, USS Tarawa, CVS-40, 1959. That's it. One scan of the front, one scan of the back. Sometimes they're like this one's, the glue is open on this one, but a lot of times they're like a piece of cardboard in there to keep it stiffer, but just what it is. And sometimes they have some unique stamps on them too, but I don't really look at those. But that's sold for $4.55, and those do qualify for the eBay standard envelope. Now I have sold some first day covers of like Apollo. I just sold a bunch of those over to Spain or somewhere on there. The next one I sold is the Philadelphia Turnpike. I think this is it. Ohio Turnpike, one of the interchanges. And it's got an older car on there. The cancel was kind of on there, but chrome card of a road. 1957, postmarked. $4 to $5. And then I've been listing some Continental cards. I got a bunch of them in a lot, and I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and list them. And my son was looking in the box and said, "What are you listing these big ones? I thought you don't do those." I'll give them a shot. And I sold one. And this is the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. 6x4 Continental card, chrome. It'll still go eBay standard, $4 to $5. I don't up the price because it's bigger or whatever. This one, next one I sold is Boston's Other Cradle of Liberty. The Dunphy Family's Parker Restaurant. Multi-view card. Not for sure when it was listed. School Streets. It's on Tremont and School Streets, Massachusetts. On there. Just an advertisement card of a restaurant. Dunphy. $4 to $5. Next one is Shadows of the Tech. Deep South Fable Plantation Home. It's one of those series cards on the back there. New Orleans. $4 to $5. Then I sold another ship. These are those prints that they printed at this club. And that club, was their main thing was those cancellations. That's what the club was really all about. But they did do these ship postcards, and this is the lighter stock. USS Weller, DD-466. Then I sold another ship cover. USS Franklin D. Roosevelt, CVB-42. I think it's a carrier, aircraft carrier. 1946, March 9th. There's the name right there. That's what you want to look for. $4 to $5. And I sold a tram, a skiing tram. Skiing Pico Peak, Shelburne Pass, Rutland, Vermont. Skiing always does well. The trams and stuff. You want it unposted, nice solid cardstock. $4 to $5. And the last what sold was traditional Korean food. Two people looking at dinner, look like they're Korean, and all it says is traditional Korean food. So guess what? That's what I used for the title. It sold. $4 to $5. What was the number on that? Oh, that was probably up there a year or so with the number. I kind of know that's the inventory number that Korean card came out of, and that's in the 28,000 thing, so I kind of know where it is and what year it was. Now that was 9 cards on eBay for $45, and Etsy, the 2 view cards for basically $10, so roughly $55 in one day. I've had some $70 days, $80 days, a couple days over 100. Nice and steady. It's getting back. It's edging its way back to normal again on there. But my market and my business and my expenses are built around lower than that. So if I have a low time, I can hit the bottom, that's fine. If I go higher, that's fine. So I don't build my business, I don't overextend myself. I try to keep my bills and my daily income of cash and outflow of cash. I try to have more coming in than going out. That's the key to the whole thing. Now we're going to get into the special topic. And as I talk about these, if anybody collects these or know a lot more about Hershey, I did some history reading. I did a lot of reading about Hershey and what he's done, and it was a pretty unique place and how he built his business. I think there's a thing on the History Channel or something about the food that made America or something like that with Hershey. Very interesting if you haven't watched that. And what these cards are, they're called Hershey Candy Bar Postcards. Now these are postcards. I got a couple. I do have a couple in my collection, but I don't have them listed. This is what they are. This is the first, some of the first ones, as you'll learn. They're like 7 by 3. Let's see. 7 by 3 is what? No, they're about 5.5. Little under about 2 3/4. So the size of a candy bar. So this would fit in the package of the candy bars. And this one is Hershey Park Rustic Bridge, Hershey Chocolate Company, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Right there. So that's what they look like. And they're really made on heavy cardstock. And this one is Hershey Herd and Clover. That's the cows in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I have 2 of them, but I haven't listed them. And you'll see why in a minute. But I just thought one day I would do a video on them and learn a little bit more about them. I didn't know a lot about these and what they would sell for and stuff like that. But as I go through some of the facts here, remember I give you the highlights of what I find. I can't go through all the details because otherwise the video would be way too long. We'd have to do a whole season on some of these. So I try to give you the highlights to tease you to go out and look at them. If you got them, you know more about them than what I say, please share it in the comments. That's what this channel is all about, is sharing everybody's experiences. So basically, Hershey candy bar postcards. Over 90 different Hershey candy bar postcards were issued between 1909 and 1920. So close to 100 postcards were made. The Hershey candy bar postcards were issued at a time that the popularity of picture postcards was increasing in the early 1900s. Golden age of postcard was coming up. So 1909 to 1920 was a key area for postcards. These cards were included with Hershey's milk chocolate 5-cent bars. As you saw in the thumbnail, those everybody knows what those are. They make s'mores out of them or whatever. So they were included in the package. They were first included beginning about 1909 and continued until 1918. So for 9 years, they did that. That's right in the golden age of postcards. They actually printed them right on Hershey City there. At first, the cards featured images of the chocolate factory and dairy farms, as I showed you. There was that chocolate factory and the dairy. They also became popular bonus for consumers of his best-selling product, the Hershey candy bar. So it was like an added bonus to the people that got, did they get that special one, or they got to finish their collection. 1 year, they printed and put in 75 million cards were printed for inclusion into the Hershey milk chocolate bars. 75 million in just 1 year. That was probably between 1908 and 1910, I bet. Originally, the cards were printed in black and white. Later, a green tint was added, like the ones I showed you. And finally, the cards were printed in 4 colors. So they weren't very ornate on there. So I think these, if you can see it with the camera, I think these are the black and white ones. They're not really the green ones. If I look under the light, I think they're the black and white ones. They're not the green ones. But you probably saw some of the pictures go through of the different, as I got into the different colors on there. Now you're saying, well, what are these things worth? Should I go and look for them? Now remember, I've been starting to put in the sell-through rate. Now sell-through rate, the true sell-through rate, if you calculate it, is for a certain period of time, like I do for every month. I calculate what I have listed and what I've sold. So sold divided by listed times 100. So I have a distinct 1 month period of what was listed and what was sold will give me a better sell-through rate for me, for my sell-through rate. Now what I use here is a little modification, just something to give me something else to look at. And what I do is I went out and I put Hershey candy bar postcards in eBay, and it gives me a number that's listed, and that number I put in there was 70. Yeah, 70. I didn't find a lot. It was kind of weird. I tried different things, but just not a lot of them out there. Maybe they titled them differently. But then after I did that and got to 70, I clicked on the filtered it by sold. So I'm not doing it. Whatever the time frame eBay gives me is what it is. So I really don't know what the time frame it's giving me. Maybe 90 days. But it's whatever happened over the 90 days. So it's not really true sell-through rate, but I call it sell-through rate for me to use. And the sell-through rate that came up was 4%. And you're saying, well, what does that mean? Well, you got to compare it to other things. So I did the same thing. So if you're comparing apples to apples, so I just went in and I did postcard space Nevada. It gave me the listed. I clicked sold. It gave me the solds. Same period. So it gives me kind of an apples for apples. It's not scientific, but it gives me a gauge, something else to kind of look at. So like Nevada came out with 11%. Indiana came out with 8%. Texas was 7%, and New Hampshire 4%. Where does Hershey fall in? About 4%, so it's down in the bottom. New Hampshire is one of the lowest ones. QSL cards are like 3%. And there's a video about QSL cards. These are not, in my little calculation I do here, with the numbers that I can get from eBay, they're on the lower end. So when I go out and look, and I see a Hershey card, and they want $5 for it, am I going to pay $5 for that? No, I'm going to pay a quarter or 50 cents for it, knowing that it's going to sit a little bit longer. Now if I go out and I find a Nevada, would I pay $1 for it, 75 cents? Probably, because it's a little higher in my calculation. So that's how I use it. It's not true sell-through rate because the time frame can shift and stuff like that. But it's just another tool I use in my head when I calculate things. So they're running about 4%, and that's down in the below average on the Hershey cards, which was kind of surprising to me. I thought they would be a little more on there because I really never got into these cards that often. So now what are these things selling for? Now we usually go through sold high, sold low, but I didn't find a lot of solds out there. So I just kind of mixed them together. I picked out 5 solds that I found that I thought would be a good representation. First one was the Hershey milk chocolate. Looks just like the candy bar. Sold for $3, free shipping. The next 2 looks like from the same seller. Did an auction. Started him at 49 cents. And that's what he got. He got one bid, 49 cents. And 99 cents shipping. So, not a lot there. So alarm bells, red flags start going off in your head. $3, 50 cents, 50 cents, 4% calculation on sell-through rate stuff. What are these things even worth looking at? Then you get over, and there's a couple other ones I found. Old postcard, Hershey, Pennsylvania baseball field. Baseball field. $6.50. Got 2 bids. So maybe the baseball field might be something. Got a little bit more. And then here's another one I found. Seam of Hershey Park. $2.50. Yeah. So we got 5 cards under $3 and 1 card over $6.50. So if I see them, I see the baseball. If I remember, I'll probably pick them up. So right now, these things $2 to $3 is what the solds I've seen out there on eBay. Maybe they don't have the titles right and I couldn't pick them out, but you'd think they would pick it up. They picked all these up on there. So far, not so good. I mean, they're not top on my list. Now let's go see what these people are selling. And usually we get extremes. People think they got gold, and they'll just price them out here. I didn't see that with these. I don't know what's going on with these. They're not fitting my normal videos. They're not fitting into what we normally see in pricing. These are actually pretty in the ballpark, kind of. So here's the first 3 on listed high. 1913, enlarged plant, Hershey chocolate, size postcard. $6 and $1.85 shipping. $6. I mean, it's in the ballpark. It's $2 to $3 or best offer. I don't know if I put best offer on it. I'll keep it at the level you want it, at that lower price. 1921 Hershey, Pennsylvania candy bar, size, advertising, postcard. $6.79. They got a 20% discount already, or best offer. So 2 of them for like $6. Rustic Bridge, Hershey chocolate, candy bar. $4.95, $1.50 shipping. So $6. So they're listing them around $6. We're not seeing the $60 ones. We're not seeing the $150 to $500 ones. These are kind of normal. That someone wanted these, they would probably buy them. But then you go over to the low. There's 3 of these at $4. They all got like $1 something shipping on them, so $5. So the listing in the low in this video actually came together, and they're all basically in the box. So what is my conclusion about Hershey candy bar postcards? The information that I have found with my research, they're just average cards. They're below average cards. There's a lot of them out there. I don't know if people don't think they're postcards, because they say postcard right on them. Because maybe the size does something with them, because they fit in there like that. I thought they would be more collectible. But if you want to collect something, or you do collect these, and you got more information than what I found on these, let me know. Let us share with us. But I don't know what's stopping these from being more. I think they should be more collectible and sell for more than they do. It's part of history. Maybe it's the size or something with Hershey. But Hershey candy bar postcards. Who knew? The polls. Every Saturday morning in the community tab on the channel, I send out a poll, and they're just real easy. A lot of people participated. 57 participated in this one, and you just click on it, and when they do go out, if you are subscribed and you hit the bell icon, I think it'll tell you when it's out there. It kind of notifies you, I think, just like a video would. But it gives an insight to everybody what you do. There's no right or wrong in selling postcards. Well, there is some wrong if you put a $1 postcard for $1,000, stuff like that. But there's no right around it. Everybody learns from everybody, and this is what I'm pulling out here is a lot of best practices that I'll try to bundle them up at the end of the year and say, okay, here's what I found, guys, what everybody's doing. Pick what you need to do for your business that you like. 90% of the people are doing this. 90% of the people are using buy it downs at auction. It kind of pulls it all together for me. But this poll was, what is the most postcards you have listed in one session? That means when you sit down to list postcards, How many do you try to do at a time? What is the most you've ever done? 1 to 25? 42% of the people said they do up to 25 at a sitting. 28% said up to 25 to 75. 75 to 150, only 19%, and over 150 is 11%. So most people sit down for an hour or so and do 25 posts. Me, I'm in the 25 to 75. I try to do an average of every day, every of the month, 50. Right now I'm probably a little lower because I've been doing some other things. It's summertime, but in the winter I'll probably go up to 75 cards. So throughout the year I try to have an average of 50. Now the 50 is also including the sales. If you put up 25 postcards and you sell 10 of those, you've really only gained 15 into your store. So you got to kind of calculate what you're selling. So if you're selling 10 cards a day and you're only putting up 10 cards a day, you're going to keep, you see what I mean there? You want to try to get more so you keep building your store. More lines in the water, the more fish you'll catch. And sell-through rate, my personal sell-through rate, not what I calculate with the eBay thing, but my personal sell-through rate is 1 to 2%. So if I have 100 cards listed, I'm only going to sell 2 a month. So the more lines you got in, unless they're special cards, Halloween cards, or just RPPCs, or lower value cards, your average cards for me is 1 to 2%. Your other ones will throw those numbers off because they're special. Collectors look for special cards, and you got to treat them specially. But average cards, 1 to 2%. I got some comments here. Kelly said, during the week I aim for 100 a day. On the weekends I try to do 200 to 250. This year, highest single day was 262, but it's exhausting. It can be, yes. I'm not a big sorter. I get a stack of postcards in there. They just go. I check for any mica, any glitter tinseling on them, because that'll scratch the scanner, any metal add-ons or any sleeves and stuff like that. And they go in the scanner, and I scan them up in like packs of 100 and on there. And then as I list them, if I say this card here, I just listed the next card here. And let's say this card was a very special card, and I need to do some more research. It's going to take me a little bit of time. I move that scan and the card, I set it to the side in a special folder. And then one day I'll sit down and research. When I'm in research mode, I'll do the 10 cards I got over there. But 90% of my cards that I list fall between the $4 and $6 range, because I work it to divide it back to Chrome. So that's how I go through it. I don't sort by state. I don't need to not type North Carolina. I can type pretty quick, just from the years of working with computers and stuff. It doesn't bother me. I use templates. Some people sort. They like to sort them out by states. They like to sort them by Chromes and stuff like that. Either you do it up front or you do it at the end. I do it at the end. A lot of people do it up front. A lot of people prep their stuff. They spend a lot of time there and they fly through listing. It doesn't matter how you do it. Guys, they've been doing this for years, listing postcards. If there was a magic bullet out there, special way to do it, it would have been found already. And we'll get into one of the top comments here that I would love to know more about. But Stephen Holton said, I take my time and make sure my listings are accurate. Also, I believe if you are accurate and list as many details as you can, sometimes makes the postcards sell faster. If you look at the data, your title, your photo, and the subject of the card is going to really drive the person to click. You got it? Once you have a listing, you got to get them to click. Once they click, they got to see what it is and what the price is and the shipping. And then you got to get them to hit the buy button. So if your price is way out of line, they're not even going to click. If your photos are not clear on there, or you got too many, or all the zoom ins and all the corners and stuff like that I've seen, I do front and back. That's it. You're going to get a photo of this, and you're going to get a photo of the back. If you want more, just ask. I'll do a zoom in on something like that. Some people say, is that a boat in the picture? Can't really tell. Very rarely do I get those. But do they sell faster with the details? I think they get into search a little bit, but you don't want to just target search. You want to get in there. But Stephen, taking his time doing it right, in the end, he's going to have very good quality listings, and that's what you want. I'm more quantity sometimes, but I do have most of my stuff filled out. And I think a lot of people in here do that. You got to find that happy medium. You got to get enough cards up to get the sell-through rate, get them sold, and not spend a lot of time. You don't want to spend a lot of time with $45 cards. Your higher cards, yeah, spend as much as possible. But your average cards out there, you shouldn't have to spend too much time. Stephen usually lists about 20 in one session, but I also sell a lot of other things. A lot of people that sell postcards will sell other things, so they kind of mix them in. Postcards can be a different animal than hard goods, so you want to be careful with that. But appreciate your sharing that, Stephen, on there. Now the next one was interesting, and trying to learn this, as talked about this before, he's got a technical background, I believe, the way it sounds. But his comment was there. I can list 250 plus linen, white border, divided back or undivided back in less than an hour, half hour. I specified those because Chrome cards don't work well with my application. I choose not to because I believe it is the so-called algorithm. I choose not to because I believe in the so-called algorithm. Typically on the weekday, I put up 25 in a couple of minutes, and then on the weekend I'll add another 100 and 200. I know I always get people that say that's impossible. But when people start to realize technology has made leaps and bounds in data entry, then they will understand possible. You're teasing us, learn this. What are you doing? Is it optical recognition? Are you scanning and capturing the text on there? Are you filling out a spreadsheet and uploading that? Or is your app filling out the form, the metadata, or whatever? So you gave us enough. Is there something here? Not saying that we want to steal your thunder or your application, but just how are you doing that would be interesting. And with my technical background, I can kind of picture what you're doing, but I could be off in left field too on there. So there'll be a lot of questions about this probably. Putting yourself out there and sharing that, I appreciate it. We all want to do it faster and easier. Thanks trying to learn this. That dude, the most I have done in a single listing is 200. Afterwards, my brain was mush. Yeah, I know when I do like 150, it's like I've been standing here for a couple hours. I try to break it up, and that's why I kind of scan them in little packs. I'm one of those guys where I see a shiny object, I'll start going over here. So I kind of do one, and then 2, 3, 4, and I might go do something else, come back 5, 6, 7. So by the end of the day, I'll get to 50. But to sit down and do 100, 200 like I used to do gets monotonous sometimes. Unless I got really cool cards, you gotta stop yourself from reading them too. You can't read every card if you want to get quantity up. Otherwise, you're going to be here forever. But some of them you gotta read. I mean, just looking at them, you've got to read some of them. But thanks, that dude. David Horowitz, he sells the most of everybody. Or he lists most. He does 1,000 card lots. That's another way. If you don't want to sit down and do the individual listings, just go and buy a bunch of postcards. Put them in a flat rate box. Put 1,000 to a box. Take pictures. Start them at $100, $250, whatever, and put them in auction. I see them all the time on eBay. So he wins for the day. He does 1,000 at a session. Thanks, David. But there's lots. There's people that have tools. There's people that get real detailed with their listings. There's people that fly through them. Everybody's got a number, and that's what I was trying to get to with this poll, is what is your number? What are you satisfied with? Now, me, I don't compare myself to others. I do what I can. Like today, I probably won't list any postcards because I'm doing a video. It's summertime. We're going to be leaving on a trip here soon. I got some fish things to do. I'm not worried about the algorithm. I'm not worried about not listing for a day. I have enough cards up there. But my quantity just tines of builds because I'm listing more than I'm selling. So it just, by the end of the month, it just goes. See someone and they got 4,000 cards, 5,000 cards listed. In my mind, if you're selling postcards regularly and you're listing regularly, I just have in my mind 1,000 a month. So if someone has 5,000 cards listed, they've spent 5 months to get them up there. If they got 10,000, that's about a year's worth of listing and selling. So to have 30,000 postcards, you've been doing it at least 3 years. Now, if you're a machine and you got other people helping you, you can probably do more. But that's just a guideline I use. I'm not saying you can't do this or that's the number you want to be. It's just in my head when I see stuff like that. But never compare yourself to others. You don't know the whole story. And it's not a race. You want to get good cards. You want to get enough quantity up there to sell them. And if postcards are your main thing, you want to get enough up there to make it worth your while because you've taken time away from it. But I just wanted to know what the numbers people had. And I fall in the 25 to 75 or 28% of the people. The 42% might be part-time people. But if you're getting serious about postcards, you need to get your numbers up. Sell-through rate will tell you that quantity rules. Now, if you got really good cards, as I said before, that's a different story. But you want to get the regular cards that sell every day. And people will buy them from me, they'll buy them from you, whoever they follow, and followers and stuff. But that's the poll. Check them out. A whole bunch out there. A lot of good ideas. If you're just starting out, great place to spend half hour, 20 minutes just reading through them. It'll give you a lot of insight on what the next steps are. If you've been doing it for a long time, go have a laugh at some of us. Thanks for participating, everyone. So now, viewer comments. These comments come from all different places to me. They could be conversations, they could be YouTube, they could be emails, they could be a lot of different things. But Biff Buffalo said, I know what custom categories help. He knows that custom categories help. So with one of the videos I did, I talked about categories, how to sell more than one card. I really think there's something there. If you can get people in your store, follow you, and once you get them in there, how do you get them to buy more than one card? Instead of waiting for that next seller, you got them hooked, get them in the boat, and get them to get a couple more fish in there. He's with me. I do think categories have a play in it. Not saying that if you go out there and build all your categories and put all your cards in them, you're going to sell 1,000 times more postcards. It's just another piece of the puzzle. He says, imagine a supermarket where the food wasn't organized by aisles and where it was always in a different place. Yeah, they changed the bananas. I walked into the produce section. I couldn't find the bananas or the potatoes. They were on two different ends of the thing. Now, after a month, I figured out where everything is again, but they changed the whole place over there. I know how you feel. I have a gentleman who buys 40 cards from me once every month. And I know he just scrolls through one category. I love when I see his first order come in because I know there will be plenty more. Yeah, I kind of like when I go into a store and I see all Marvel action figures. I can just click on that category and just Marvel instead of DC. I'm looking for Marvel. Or they go into a postcard store and it says Illinois, and I can see all their Illinois cards. Now, a lot of people don't use the category. They let eBay define the categories. I don't use those. I defined all 50 states, and when I list the cards, I take that extra step and do the drop down and put them in the right category and stuff like that. So I do think getting people to buy more than one card, categories can help with that, along with other tools you can use. Thanks, Biff, for another great comment and sharing what you do. Calamity Foldo. This was about the QSL cards, the radio card video I did. That was the most interesting video. I found some things in there. I am such a novice when it comes to those cards, but I learned so much just by doing that video. But Calamity Photo said, yeah, I've had many QSL cards listed for over a year. Get that, he said listed over a year. Didn't say how long, but over a year. I think I might have sold one and maybe none. I'm with you on the QSL cards. So when I got this message, I said, you know what? I've been aiming to go in and see what I got in my store. Out of 34,000 postcards in eBay, I looked at the active and I put in there QSL. I didn't get anything. Then I put in there radio. I got 15 radio cards popped up, and they were QSL cards. I didn't even call them QSL when I put them up. I put them radio cards. I didn't even know what they were named. I knew QSL, but I just call them radio cards. So I really don't get into them. They must have been on a stack when I started, but those things have been up over 3 years, so I don't remember selling any of them. They're there. I'll just leave them there. Maybe someone want them on there. But QSL cards, birthdays, greetings, they all go in the same. I don't see them. But thanks, Calamity. So Julie came in. Julie Norman, she has a channel out there about postcards, and she sells ephemera and has an antique booth. So if anyone's got any questions, put it in here. And just another person with Biff, Calamity, and everybody else. If I don't have the answer, I'm sure someone else does, or a different view of how to do it. But Julie Norman said, I haven't listed my QSLs either. They go to the antique booth. So Julie sells a lot at the antique booths or ephemera and stuff like that. So that's another place to move them to. If they don't sell on eBay, put them over there. Then she said, she shared this information. When I worked in radio, every once in a while we get a letter or a postcard from someone around the world that heard our station. And she said it would need AM and not FM. And she's right, the way it bounces with the modulation. They do different things, the frequencies. One time someone from Poland found us. We didn't have postcards to send back. I think the general manager sent a letter though. That's how that QSL is. When it first started, as I said in that video, they used to get all these letters in from people, the stations and stuff, and they couldn't keep up with them, so they started sending cards out. Julie was in radio, never knew that. I like when people share their background and stuff like that, that we can learn what they did, because everybody has unique experiences in life. Everybody's done so many different things. But thanks, Julie, and let us know if they sell an antique booth. Then she also said, my vote on the poll has changed. Last weekend I got a 26 card order, largest ever. Yeah, those are great. Those are so good. When you get those bigger orders, and it does take a little bit time to pull them and stuff like that, if you've seen in some of my videos, but when you pack them up, you feel so good about that, and you put it in the mailbox and they're gone. It's great. 26 card order. Real well done, Julie. Thanks again, Julie. Now remember with those Hershey cards, they started doing them in 1909 to 1920. And what was that? That was the golden age of postcards. That's when 1908 is when the divided back came. And that's when everybody got involved, really in the postcards. It really took off. And so they called it the golden age of postcards. And what I've read, 4 to 6 billion postcards were mailed during those time frames, but they don't know if the number's right. It could be more. Because people tried to save on postage, they would put more postcards in one envelope. So the number, you'll see different numbers out there, but I try to stick at 4 billion in my head. That's still a lot of postcards during the golden age of postcards. But I have a video on the golden age of postcards that'll kind of help you with that. And if you're going to do postcards, that's one of the eras that will help you understand when the postcards took off and just how many are out there. Thanks for watching. Good luck out there. That's all I got for you today. Thanks.